Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a Tuesday edition of the JP Peterson Show. We thank you so much for jumping in here with us. We are live on RHS TV globally. It's our new television app. So glad to be on that. Getting lots of views globally, interestingly enough. Maybe it has something to do with Tom Brady. I don't know. But great to be on RHS TV, where we broadcast from right here at CP Communications in St. Petersburg. So we're glad to add that to our repertoire. We are also on YouTube, our YouTube channel, the JP Peterson Show, on Facebook and on Twitter, and, of course, our app at FanStream Sports. So we thank you for joining us each and every morning. And if you do not want to hear about Tom Brady, you better go watch another show because it's going to be wall-to-wall. Tom Brady, again, what the hell are the Bucs doing at quarterback? Is now Tom Brady back in the hopper, so to speak, as a possibility? Maybe this is why there hasn't been an offensive coordinator signed yet. I mean, what the hell is going on now? And all of this speculation is being brought forth because of, you guessed it, Tom Brady. I don't even want to say he left the door open. I think at this point it's just one of those big revolving doors at those big hotels, you know, that you go in and get the airlock going. Is he going to play? Is he not going to play? And he just keeps walking around, and you don't know if he's just going to pop out back in Tampa Bay, maybe pop out in Miami. Lord knows what's going on. So we will get into all the sound from yesterday as Brady made the rounds. It's a fascinating story. And as we sat here last week, Nick Geddes, good morning to you. We said, oh, for good this time. For good this time. That was emotional. There's no question about it.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. Not so sure anymore.
Not so much. Good morning to you.
Good morning, which is surprising because, you know, everything is so well thought out with Tom Brady. I don't remember the last time he's done a national interview. Like, I didn't even know who was going to be on the Herd yesterday. I watched the Herd. I watched the Herd almost every day, and all of a sudden they're telling me that Tom Brady's coming on, and I'm like, well, this is interesting.
Yeah.
And I understand he, you know, obviously has the contract with Fox, so I'm like, okay, well, maybe this is going to be like Colin's new Sean Payton, how Sean Payton was on every week. That's going to be cool.
Yep.
But little did I know that he was actually going to, at least, I wouldn't say answer the questions, kind of dance around the questions a little bit, but
which we will hear and break down here in just a moment.
Only 5 days removed, though, from making the retirement, for him to actually go out into a national forum like that and know that people are going to start, you know, doing a lot of this.
Yep. It's
kind of interesting for a guy who thinks things out so well.
It's fascinating. It's fascinating because as you sit here, and it's fascinating for the people of Tampa Bay. He is the biggest star in sports globally. Well, I don't know. Maybe I should take that back. I'm not an
international soccer guys got him there.
Yeah, certainly in the American
realm
landscape, it is without question. Tom Brady is the biggest superstar there is, and so yes, everything is calculated, everything is thought out, and as we always say, especially in these situations when it comes to football in January through March, don't listen to what they say, look at what they do. And what did Tom Brady do yesterday? He left his entire 2023 football season wide open to play football. That's what Tom Brady did yesterday. You know what? A good day yesterday? Greg Olsen had a great day yesterday. Greg Olsen had a huge day yesterday. Somebody went to Greg Olsen and said, or he picked up his phone and went, well, what? Got another year in the number one chair? Oh, doing the Super Bowl? Oh, okay, sure. Let's go ahead with that. So Tom Brady is not going to Fox next year. $37.5 million waiting for him at Fox, and Tom Brady is not going to Fox next year. That's a bombshell. And again, don't listen to what they say, look at what they do. And so far, Tom Brady, by the way, has moved to Miami, as we told you a couple weeks ago. He vacated the house on Davis Island. I was told the moving trucks were there the Friday before the Monday, so take that for what it's worth. And he quickly exited Tampa Bay and moved to Miami, where he filmed the now famous Coyotes retirement. But the questions yesterday about retirement were not certain retirement. A guy who's definitely retired and has closed the door does not answer the questions the way Tom Brady answered the questions yesterday. It's just that simple. And as you sit here today as a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, now you're going, okay, what? Is he coming back now? Is this why the Bucs have not hired the offensive coordinator yet? Is there something else going on? Is there something in the works to bring another coach here that we don't know about as either a head coach or as an assistant coach? Because I'm here to tell you, since the end of the season, and I've told you this just basically because of watching the film and watching the tape and watching the Bucs play and being, watching every press conference of Todd Bowles and everything else. There is no way on God's green earth that Tom Brady was happy with the way this team was handled last year. I mean, Todd Bowles told him he couldn't call a timeout, for God's sakes, in the last 2-minute situation, the greatest quarterback in the history of the world in comebacks. And then what he promptly did was throw a 35-yard pass between 5 defenders, hit Julio Jones right in the hands, and they're right back in scoring position. Of course, didn't have the time to do it and couldn't win the game. You think that sat well with Tom Brady in terms of game management? I don't think so. The way this team ridiculously made the same mistakes over and over, the same stale offense over and over, and you think that Byron Leftwich being fired is the only thing that's going to placate Thomas Edward Patrick Brady? No. When Tom Brady goes on his podcast and says the game day effort of this team is embarrassing, that is the ultimate indictment of a head coach and a culture, especially for Tom Brady. And it was dysfunctional. There's no way Tom Brady is coming back to Todd Bowles as a head coach. I just don't think that's something that he would do. Why would he do that? You'd come back into building, same messages, same everything. Although, Todd promised there was going to be a culture change. How are you going to do that? Are you going to become a different person, a different head coach than you've been most of your life? And again, I have to always say this as a kind of preamble when I talk about Todd Bowles. I love the man, love the human, think he's a great defensive coordinator. And I hope if he is not the head coach here next year, he is the defensive coordinator, because you're not going to find anybody better on the market than him. You're just not. And to me, Tom Brady's not coming back to that situation. It has to be something more bold, more different, somebody else coming in that he trusts to run a tighter ship, to be better as a whole, in a new, invigorated environment if he's coming back to Tampa Bay. So maybe that's the reason these hires have taken so long. It's been 18 days since Byron Leftwich was fired.
I guess you can look at it like that. I heard everything he said or say. I listened to all the thing on Coward. I listened to everything with Jim Gray. And I didn't once think, oh, well, Tampa Bay's back in the game. I didn't get that feeling that it meant Tampa Bay's back in the game. I think it meant more of, and there's a whole lot of things.
And I'm extrapolating that. Just if he comes back, I still think this is his best situation.
Oh, absolutely. And don't get me wrong. I would love it to happen. If he came out tomorrow and said, hey, I want to come back. Fine. What all means.
100%.
But to me, it's him leaving those options open for 2023. And I don't know if it's for Tampa Bay. I think it might be for anything football related in general. Like, who knows because again, we're so fresh on this right now. Who knows what happens when we get to June and July and training camp opens up, right? And he's not there. And who knows what happens when we get to August and September and games are starting to play and he's not there.
That's the thing.
And I think he wants to keep that open to see, how am I going to feel in August and September when it happens? How am I going to feel as that season goes on? Because, not to compare him to Rob Gronkowski a little bit, but Rob even admitted it. It took him, he was 2 months into the season beginning and he decided he was bored, right?
Right.
And he picks up the phone and calls the Buccaneers, and why he was not signed, nobody will ever know. But I think Tom Brady's probably going to deal with the same thing. So I think that's him kind of not wanting to rush in, because if you get into that booth, like, you're in it.
You're in it.
There's no getting out of that booth.
That's
right. You have to finish out the whole year. Like Jason Witten obviously finished the whole year and then went back to playing, but you can't just start and then like midway through the season in the booth be like, no, I'm going to go play now.
Right.
It's not going to work that way.
Yeah.
So I think he understands that. I don't think it means Tampa Bay. I think it means any team in the league in general. Like if there's situations that are going on, and again, i.e., a San Francisco, if things are going awry with Trey Lance or whatever, and they think that, hey, we need to go call Tom Brady, and maybe that would be something if he wants to play a half season there. Like, I don't know. To me, that's the way I interpret it. I don't interpret it as we're going to get a full season of Tom Brady at any point.
I'm going to throw something out there, and this is just for fun. This is just for fun. Did you hear? And we're going to listen to it. Well, you know what? Let's get into playing the sound. I think we're sitting here talking about it, and some of you haven't heard it. So that's a little probably disjointed for you. So let's get into the sound, and then we can really start having some fun with this, because I think it's fascinating. I hope you guys do as well. I know. Well, listen, we're not going to talk about the Lightning getting their ass kicked last night, 7-1. It's a non-factor. They had 9 days off. It's just whatever. It's not. The Panthers were sitting there waiting for them. We're going to get them. Good for you. You got your win. Whatever. And we're not. They play tonight against San Jose. Let's see how they play again. So we're not going to talk a whole lot about that. Scott Reynolds is going to join us, by the way, at 10:30. Can't wait to get his take on all this. He was just back from the Senior Bowl as well. How are the Bucs rebuilding and building? Like, what was their attitude as far as how this team is going to be rebuilt? Because there's some very definite different tracks that you have to go down. So we'll get Scott Reynolds' opinions at 10:30. So let's get into the sound, and you cut this, so I'm going to let you kind of guide me on this. So I want to go first to starting at Fox Sports. Let's do number 5. And he was on with Colin Cowherd yesterday. And again, I look at these things through a media lens, and having been in this business so long, I know how a lot of these things work, right? So here's Tom Brady, who has a deal with Fox for $37 million, right? He's going to delay that. Their full expectation, I'm sure, was the Fox executives, and these guys have huge egos, by the way. Their full expectation when they heard Brady was done was, okay, I'm sure they were on the phone the next morning and said, okay, how do you want to work in the Super Bowl? What's your idea of how you should be part of this? And he went, I'm not. And that's exactly what happened on the conference call. There was a long pause of, are you effing? And everybody in the Fox room said, are you effing kidding me, in their brain, but they wouldn't dare say it on the conference call, whether Tom was on it or not, or his representatives or whatever. Probably just his representatives. I mean, Fox is pissed. They're pissed. And they have to understand what the hell's going on. They've got the Super Bowl, and Tom Brady is not going to be part of their broadcast. Are you effing kidding me? Do you have any idea what's going on in the halls of Fox Sports right now? These people are losing their minds. I mean, executive producers and producers.
But hold on. What's the value, though? Like, how much of a big deal is it Tom Brady being on the Super Bowl broadcast?
Yeah, see, this is the thing. You and me, probably it's still going to be the Super Bowl, right? And we don't get.
No, my point is like if you're talking about strictly what his role, which was going to be next to Kevin Burkhardt as the color commentator.
Certainly their expectation was not to roll him in.
I'm just saying, like,
but
I
be
think
part of the pregame.
I'm just saying,
17-hour pregame show.
Okay, sure. I was just saying that if Fox is unhappy or anything that Brady's not going to be here in 2023, I don't know if that's the case, because the public opinion of Mr. Greg Olsen right now is as high as it ever will be at the moment. He's generally really regarded as the number one guy right now in the business.
He's really good.
So I think if you were to poll a bunch of people, if you were to poll the entire NFL community, everybody that's watching the Super Bowl, would you rather hear Greg Olsen on the broadcast or Tom Brady on the broadcast? I actually think Greg Olsen's going to win that poll.
Yeah, well, you got to understand, 95% of America doesn't know who Greg Olsen is.
I know that, but I'm saying, like, the real NFL fans that listen.
And the Super Bowl is projected to the non-football fan. In case you haven't.
True. Rephrase. Take the Super Bowl audience.
But I think we're losing. I think we're losing the main point here. It's not the fact that they wanted him in the booth. It's the fact that they wanted his essence and aura around the Super Bowl show. They're not going to have the Super Bowl for another 4 years. Tom Brady just retired. You're going to give this guy, and this is how these executive thinks. Even Tom Brady, we're going to give you $375 million. We own you, Tom Brady. We own you. We're going to tell you what to do. And Tom right now is like, yeah, no, that's not happening. And he's, you don't hand out that kind of money and not have a huge, huge bucket full of expectations. It's a big deal.
Well, there's some people though that don't even think he'll ever even.
Yeah, well, that's
even be
another
on Fox.
That's another part
Like,
of the conversation.
I think even Joe Buck has already said that.
Yeah, I think that's another part of the conversation. I think that this deal was set up so he can make his choice what he wants to do. If I was a betting man right now, I don't think he ever makes it to the booth. I don't think and I think that's what this is about. I think he's probably rethinking that, and the whole idea of him not being part of this pregame show at all. I mean, they could do anything to have it. He's not even going to be hooked up, via satellite to do anything on this 18-hour pregame show. Do you know how pissed the people are at Fox about this? So they're like, okay, well, you got to go on Colin Cowherd and explain this. What's going on? You got to go on our show and do some of our shows. All right, we'll do that. You think Tom Brady woke up and went, I want to be on Colin Cowherd today? No, no, that's not what happened. They made him do that to go and explain and announce that this is what's going to happen. And I'm here to say that they probably, and you notice that they did it before his podcast Monday night. Yeah. That they don't own. So all of this is working around in what's going on here. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on. And I think Brady not being a part of this tells me a lot. Tells me a lot that he doesn't want to get into the booth and start criticizing other players. Not now, because he still feels like there's a skosh that he might play again. All right, so let's get to it. Let's get to this, and you guys can make up your own mind. So this is Brady with Colin Cowherd, number 5 here, starting at Fox Sports, when that's going to happen.
And I think for me, I want to be great at what I do. And even, talking even last week with the people at Fox Sports, and the leadership there allowing me to start, my Fox opportunity in the fall of 2024 is something that's great for me. So take some time to really learn, become great at what I want to do, become great at, thinking about the opportunity and making sure I don't rush into anything. And I think when people really bet on me, I think one thing about my career, whether I was drafted by the Patriots or signing free agency with the Bucs, I wanted to be, fully committed, and I never wanted to let people down. I think my biggest motivator was that. So, even in the future, I want to be great at what I do, and that always takes some time and strategizing and learning and growing and evolving. And I have so many people to rely on that can support me in that growth too. So it's going to be a great opportunity for me to take some time to really certainly become at my Fox broadcasting job, which I'm really looking forward to, but also catching up on other parts of my life that need some time and energy.
Fully committed to. I need to be fully committed. That's pretty telling, is it not? I need to be fully committed to it. Now, to be honest, for him to get into the number 1 booth, that work starts pretty quick. As the draft comes up, he's got to be part of the draft. That's, there's not a whole lot of time for decompression. So I get that. But you can't tell me that if he was really rock solid about going into the booth, he wouldn't. You have 7 months.
Yeah.
You have 7 months to get ready to go into the booth. Tony Romo did it in about a month and a half.
Yeah. The other thing there was at the end when he talked about there's other parts of my life that need more energy. And obviously he's talking about his family there.
That's right.
So it would honestly be, I don't know, I'm just trying to point all the scenarios out there. But it'd almost be a contradiction on his part if he was to jump right in immediately to the broadcasting, if you think about it, based on everything he said about his family and wanting to spend time and catch up on being a dad and all those things. Because
absolutely.
When I don't think people understand, and you probably would understand even more than me because you've been around it longer, the preparation and energy it takes to be a broadcaster.
Yeah.
I think it's probably one of the hardest things to do in this entire scope of sports media is to call a game.
Yeah.
And prepare.
And to know Tom Brady, he's going to
and
do
again,
it. Yeah.
As we talked about with Tom Brady and his preparation, he has to be, like you said, like he said right there, fully committed to doing it.
Right.
Or else you become like Tony Romo's having this issue right now, where he doesn't prepare and CBS is having interventions with him, and it's crystal clear to the audience. Tom Brady does not want that.
Yeah.
So,
and you don't think that Tom Brady's had conversations with Tony Romo? Oh, yes. They've had many conversations about what this entails. And, Tony's probably sitting back right now going, do I really want to do all that? Do I really want to do what is expected of me? Greg Olson's going to do it. Rondé Barber's going to do it. Rondé was absolute. We talked to James Petralk all the time, who worked in with Rondé in that Fox crew. Rondé would send out a book like this or a document that was the prep for that week's game. Like he would literally prep like he was doing a game, playing in a game, and send out all this information, scouting reports, and everything to the entire team. And everybody's like, "Oh my, what the hell is this guy doing?" And that's the level Brady would be at. He'd be like, "Oh, if that's what it takes to get it done, then that's where I'm going to be." So he's not fully committed to it. And there's a lot of wishy-washy stuff going on.
And the other thing too, because you have to, when you're like doing the preparation, at least the way I've kind of gathered it from what other people have talked about, you still have to learn the game and kind of, read the coverages on your own and do your own like film work and everything.
Yeah.
Just knowing Tom Brady, like I feel like he really does love that stuff. And if he starts doing that, like reading coverages and watching film, it's like almost as if he's playing, but he's not playing.
Right.
He's clearly going to get that itch.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I just think
and
a lot of this is
right.
He might just be protecting himself right now.
And that itch isn't really going to be right now.
No.
This is Super Bowl, and I guarantee you he didn't want to watch the Super Bowl. He didn't want to be part of it. This was his year. He feels like he should be in it or was planning on being in it. I think that's one of the other reasons he doesn't want to be part of this, because he didn't earn it and he would be stealing a spotlight away from teams that did. He thinks that way. So I think that's another part of it. And like Ricky P says here, this is and don't gloss over this, folks. Did I hear that right? Fall of 2024. If I'm Fox, I'm like, yeah, $375 million, folks. Not that they've already paid him that. They probably haven't paid him, a little bit just to get the contract done. But, there's a lot of expectations. And they probably want him to do the Masked Singer. He's got to go, really? Do I have to do that? And here's something else. I was listening to Dan Patrick with Albert Breer this morning, and they made a great point, and I believe this to be true. Heart of hearts, you see Brady. I don't think he's getting far away from the game. I don't. You see him in the broadcast booth, part of ownership, general manager.
Ownership.
Of course. Businessman, competitive, right? You're not competitive in the booth. Ooh, I'm going to be better than Tony Romo. There's no scoreboard for that. This dude lives by a scoreboard. His entire life has been calculated and evaluated by a scoreboard. You don't get a scoreboard in TV. You get a scoreboard as a general manager. Did my team win? Did I put the best? Did I build this? So you're still team building. You're still out there. And by the way, oh my God, how good of a general manager would Tom Brady be? Talent evaluation, setting the standard within. He'd probably still be in the weight room before the players got there. He'd be out there on the field with the quarterbacks, throwing the ball, teaching them, coaching as well, right? I can see Brady doing that. I could see Brady immersing himself in that. I can't see Peyton Manning doing that. It's just they're different personalities. But Brady is too driven. He's too driven. And if I'm going to sit here and predict where he's going John Lynch before he's going Tony Romo, in my opinion.
Well, I thought that's general manager then.
Right. But general manager, part of ownership. He'll be the first. We have Jerry Jones, obviously. But he will be a legitimate general manager, part of ownership. And that could be with the Miami Dolphins. That could very well be with the Miami Dolphins. That's where, he's going to live there. He's building a house there. It could very well be with the Miami Dolphins. Which kind of sucks. But let's get into some more sound as well. This is Brady on why he retired, number 6.
I think there's a part of me that there's always going to be a part that wants to play and a part of me that, feels like I can play. I think there's just a decision to know that it's the right time. So I think for me, it's more of just it's going to end at some point, and I think now's the time. And it's not that I can't do it. It's not that I wouldn't want to do it. It's not that I wouldn't be excited to play. I love playing football. I've loved playing football since I was, a kid on the street on Portola Drive. So I think it's just a decision that it's time to do other things.
Man, I was so sure he was going to retire. Did that sound like a guy that's going to retire?
It kind of sounds like a guy that's dealing with like inner conflict almost, right?
If you were a salesman and you heard that guy and you were going to try to sell him on a team, you'd be like, "Oh, I got a shot. I'm going to put together a package that he just can't.
Because he
say
knows
no to.
he admitted it. He knows he can still play.
He knows he can still play. All the ingredients that say I want to go back and play are there, except a situation that's ironclad that he can look at and say, that's where I want to be. That's where I want to be.
Yeah.
Which leads me to this. Guess who was on his podcast last night? Bill Belichick. Now, when he left New England, there was a sense that he and Belichick were not in seeing eye to eye at all. And that's two headstrong guys. And honestly, that's why they were so good together. He would say no to Brady. Brady needs somebody that will say no to him. That was the downfall here. BA would say no to Tom Brady. He would say no to Tom Brady. Not often, but he would. And that's why the team played better. And that's why there was more accountability. Everybody knew that BA was holding Tom Brady and everybody else accountable. I don't clearly, at least in my mind, from what we saw on the field, it wasn't the same with Todd Bowles. And I think Brady miscalculated that. I think he miscalculated that greatly. And he's not coming back to the situation that he had last year. No way. So let's listen to Brady. Is this Brady on the Belichick versus Brady debate? Yeah, let's do that one, number 2.
I think for me, there's nobody I'd rather be associated with. And I think that from my standpoint, I think it's always such a stupid conversation to say, Brady versus Belichick, because in my mind, that's not what partnerships are about. Coach couldn't play quarterback and I couldn't coach. And I think the best part about football is, and the coach says it a lot, do your job. And he asked me to play quarterback. He didn't ask me to coach. And, I didn't want him playing quarterback. I just wanted him to coach. I'd seen him throw, so he definitely wasn't playing quarterback. I think it's such a stupid, in my view, it was just people always trying to pull us apart. And I don't think we ever even felt that with each other. We never were trying to pull each other apart. We actually were always trying to go in the same direction. And I think when we were in New England for 20 years together, it's tired. They get tired of writing the same story. So, once they write all the nice things and championships and this, and then they just start going, well, this works. Let's start trying to divide them. And I think I never really appreciated those, ways that people would try to do that. He and I always had a great relationship and we met all the time. And did we always see everything exactly the same way? Who does in life? What close relationship can you have where everything goes, like a bright sunny day? No, there are moments that, it was never intolerable. I mean, but it was always just, I would say, healthy debates about certain things. And we always talked about them face to face. And I think there's one thing I appreciate about Coach Belichick in life is he's not afraid to have a hard conversation too. And we didn't always agree, but we always respected each other. I know he respected me for the job that I did, and I certainly did the same. And I think even when you go away from each other, you respect each other probably that much more. I certainly did, because I realized the commitment that he was trying to make to get our team to win. And that's the purpose of sports, is to try to go compete and win. And when you have someone that believes in winning as much as you do, you want to be a part of that. And when people try to get in the way of that, they become the enemy. So I always think the people that tried to drive us apart actually brought us closer together.
Tom Brady talking about Belichick, who was on his podcast. What's the next one? We need to play. I know we got to get to Scott Reynolds here. How long is Belichick on Brady's career? We want to save that one for later.
Yeah, we can save that one for later.
Okay.
But just in general, like, I'm glad that he addressed that head on. There, because isn't it such a sports radio discussion, right?
Oh, it's great. It's fantastic.
Like when it happened, that there was definitely a rift there, and we did it here with BA and everything. But I think that one kind of,
just admitted
that one kind of turned out to be a little bit more, I think, with truth to it.
Well, there was a lot of smoke, and I mean a lot of smoke.
Yeah,
about Brady going back to New England a couple of weeks ago.
There was. I mean, because he's with him for 20 years. They won 6 titles together, and as we say all the time, it's like I agree with him so much there. It's a coach and quarterback partnership.
How many wins short is Belichick of Shula's record? 322.
I'm not sure on top of my head here.
So, can you imagine Brady going back to New England, which I never thought he would do, but after listening to this podcast, here's Brady, who was down here in Tampa, won a Super Bowl, by the way, Tom. You won a Super Bowl here with the loose Tampa Bay, right? That Colin likes to call it. You won a Super Bowl here. You won 29 games in 2 years. That's how loose it was
He's,
under BA.
He's 18 behind Shula. Perfect number.
It really is. The two of them are like, wait a minute, 18. We're going to play 17 regular season. So we'd have to get the number. So that'd be 2 more playoff games. That's 19. And then Super Bowl would be 20. So can we go 19-1 next year and you win the Super Bowl and break Don Shula's record in the Super Bowl with me as your quarterback coming back to New England? NFL scriptwriters,
about to say,
let's
surely.
go. Let's go. NFL scriptwriters, are you listening? And it's just like, oh my God, is this what's getting cooked up? Is this what's getting cooked up?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
I don't think in reality,
All
final
right.
take on everything we heard from Brady. I don't think. I mean, we got to speculate, obviously, because he's doing enough to give you the chance to speculate. He's leaving it open just enough to give you like a sense to speculate. But at the same time, it's more likely that he's just saying, I want to take a year off and be with my family and do all the things I said I was going to do, and then I'll jump back into it when I want to.
Nah.
That's probably the most likely scenario beyond all the speculation that we've had.
Having been around him not that we were around.
But could you imagine him though? Like, you really think he's the kind of guy that's going to, we've already done 2 song and dances we've, sent his eulogies for his career. We've done everything. We just had Belichick on his podcast, them having these emotional moments. Brady was like getting choked up talking about Belichick. And we're going to do this again? No. We're not doing this again.
I'm telling you, we live in a world now that you cannot discount anything. And I mean anything on any given day, right? That's the world we live in. Nothing would shock me. Those wins would count the same in Tampa Bay too.
We all have to move on.
What if that?
We all have to move on.
What if that happened? What if Belichick said, "I'm done with you, Bob Kraft. I'm going to Tampa Bay. I'm going to coach Tom Brady, and we're going to win another Super Bowl." That would never happen. But what can you imagine? What crazy world we live in. You know what? The Bucs have they have a lame duck head coach.
You know what? Brady will be.
They haven't hired an OC yet, and of course, Belichick doesn't need one.
Brady can be a Pat. Brady can be a Pat. Maybe in about a few weeks, he can retire as a Pat, and there you go.
Yeah.
That's as close as he's going to get back to the Patriots.
And please, folks, I'm not saying that's happening. I'm just having some fun. We're having some fun. All right. And 99.9% of you never thought Brady would come here, right? Y'all called me an idiot the day I said that. And what happened? It happened. All right. And anything can happen in this league. All right. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, Scott Reynolds is going to join us from the Pewter Report, straight back from the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama, and still no OC. Nobody better to talk to than Scott Reynolds. He's got his finger on the pulse of what's going on at One Buccaneer Place. Back in 2. Stay with us. Jeeves Law Group. I've known Scott Jeeves for quite some time, and he's just like us, a huge college football fan. He loves his Gators. In fact, he sponsors our Gator Report every Thursday at 11 o'clock with Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. But he's not just another PI attorney. He is a ferocious advocate for his clients. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in Tampa Bay for over 30 years. He is an AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer and certified circuit court mediator. Folks, these designations are not just given out. They're given only to the best trial attorneys. But more than anything, Scott takes these cases personally. I've heard it from his clients. He's a fighter you want on your side. Insurance companies hate it when they see you're represented by Jeeves. He's just different. 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell him JP sent you.
Now is the time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or italianoinsurance.com. Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. Your car has been totaled in an accident and you did not get the settlement you thought you deserved. Give them a call. Go to JeevesLawGroup.com. Contact them through there. Free call. Tell them JP sent you. All right, let's bring in our good friend Scott Reynolds from the Pewter Report. Looks like the sunburn's kind of worn off a little bit there from Mobile last week.
Yeah, that was crazy. I've never had sunburn before in Mobile, Alabama, in late January. It was nuts. But typically, when you go to Mobile, it's windy, rainy, overcast. That's just how wintry it is in Mobile. And Thursday, it was returned to Mobile. It was like 50 degrees out and cold.
There we go.
Drizzly, but on Tuesday, for whatever reason, the sun came out and fried everybody in the stadium, and it was not a cloud in the sky for most of the practices. It was like 75 degrees. It felt like we were in Florida, so it was kind of nuts. Caught everybody off guard. Nobody brought sunscreen, so we all have a nice tan a week later as a result.
All right, before we get to all that, and I want to talk about some of the players because you guys always get great intel and nail it, and they usually tend to pick somebody from the Senior Bowl, right? That happens a lot. You have great history with that, but we got to talk about Tom Brady. It's what the law prescribes.
Yes.
So I imagine you listened to the media availabilities yesterday with Colin Cowherd and his own podcast last night.
Yeah.
We just played a couple clips. What was your overall impression vis-a-vis what's in Brady's future, and could it be he's going to play football again? What do you think?
I don't think so. I think this is it. It's a different world for him now. I've gone through this. You've gone through this. A lot of men have gone through this. When you become a single dad, there is a feeling of guilt, even whether it was your fault or your ex-wife's fault or whatever.
Sure.
You split time with your kids rather than it being an everyday thing. You only get to see them so often. And you don't always have control over that either. And I think Tom Brady is feeling this certainly for the first time, and really for the second time. Because he does have Jack before, but it's with the younger kids with Ben and Vivian, it's different. And I just think that when you saw all of the barrage of posts on Instagram and his social media outlets after the season ended, spending time with the kids, the pillow fights in the rooms, and just going to the beach and stuff, you just got a sense that he's got to retire and play dad now, and be as full-time dad as he can. And I think that's where his priority is. And right now, if he comes back to Tampa, he's learning a new offense. If he goes somewhere else, he's learning a new offense. And this year was just so mentally draining and taxing for him. I just don't think that he has it in him. I think that in a parallel universe, he wants to continue to play, but in the real world, I think he understands that at age 45, he's done.
I think that's the way he should be thinking, but it's nobody has walked in that guy's shoes, so it's hard to predict the times. But Why is he not going straight to Fox? You think it's just the family obligations?
Yeah, I definitely think that's the case. I think that's a big reason why he retired was because of the kids, and I think he wants to spend time with the kids. And also, too, Tom Brady is a perfectionist. He wants to be good at this. He doesn't want to just walk in the door, take Greg Olson's job, and because he knows that's a microscope too, right?
Yep.
He's been under the microscope now for 23 years in the NFL, and maybe probably 21 or so. I mean, when he was a 6th round draft pick coming out of Michigan, he wasn't under the microscope that rookie season, right? That was Drew Bledsoe's team. But as he won the Super Bowl and rose in prominence and fame in the league, he certainly understands what it's like to be under the microscope. The problem is for Brady is he was the best on the football field, right? Yeah. He mastered that game, and he has not mastered the broadcast booth. He's a rookie when it comes to this. He's done enough media. He knows what good media looks like and should sound like. But this is his first foray as a full-time NFL commentator. And I think he has a chance to be really good at it, but I don't think he wants to go in and you look at the criticism Tony Romo's receiving right now, right? And Greg Olson's doing a good job. If he's going to take Greg's job and knock him off the A team, he wants to at least be as good. So I applaud Brady for having his priorities squared away, spend a year with the kids, really itch to get back into football in 2024 rather than just having this abbreviated offseason and then you're jumping right into the Fox booth in August or September.
I would say to that, first of all, if I'm a betting man, I will bet that he never makes it to the Fox booth.
Really?
I think he's had conversations with John Lynch, who's done both of them.
Yeah.
He's probably had a conversation with Rondé Barber.
Yeah.
But when I say both, I say being a general manager and owning a team or being part of the ownership group. To me, as I said earlier, Tom Brady's entire life has been measured by a scoreboard. You don't get a scoreboard in the booth. You don't.
That's true. But
you get one as an owner and a general manager. Yeah,
but you also get, $10 million a year or whatever it is, and probably more than that. But it's certainly a hell of a paycheck. And the benefit you have there with that is you get to go around the league and you get to talk to all of the great quarterbacks, whether it's Patrick Mahomes one week, Josh Allen the next, Joe Burrow. And I think from a competitive standpoint, and Brady's a guy that he likes to share the insight. He likes to be a little bit of a mentor. And so I think that there's some real appeal there in going to talk to all of the great coaches, all of the great quarterbacks. And here's the funny thing, right? And Brady's been enough of these production meetings that you spend 30 minutes in there, talking to the Fox team about, what's happening kind of behind the scenes, giving them some insight. And then, you can't wait to get out of there and, do whatever. I don't think a lot of quarterbacks are going to, wait to, get out of the meeting room with Tom Brady. I think they're going to want to be in that meeting room, the production meeting for quite a while. And then maybe after that say, hey, Tom, do you have some time to maybe, since you're here at the facility, come watch some film with me? Like, sure. I think Tom will find a lot of joy in that. I really do. I don't know that he wants to coach. But you make some interesting, valid points about being an owner, about his competitiveness. Yeah. The only problem with being an owner is, or even a general manager, and I've talked to several general managers from Mark Dominic to Jason Light, right? It's a helpless feeling. You can only do so much. 90% of your work comes in the off season. And then once that final roster is set, all you're doing is this guy goes on IR. We're replacing him with this guy. Yeah. There's no saviors on the street in September, right? You're filling in patchwork guys. You're making some practice squad moves. Maybe you're making a trade at the deadline, but once you get to the season, your roster is pretty much set. And we've heard it before in Tampa, whether it was Todd Bowles saying it this year or Dirk Cutter saying it. The cavalry's not coming, right? Like once your team's set, it's about 90% set for the season. And I think that's kind of a helpless feeling for a lot of general managers. I'm not sure Tom Brady, who's used to kind of being in control, wants that particular role where he's an owner and he's helpless watching in a booth, or he's a general manager and he's helpless watching his team perform. And I don't think he wants to coach. So maybe the broadcast booth where he doesn't really have any allegiances, maybe that's a less stressful situation where you can just watch some football and talk about it rather than having to live and die with wins and losses.
And now that it's over, as we think, right, and this being the 2-year anniversary of the Super Bowl team, which is crazy how fast it all flew by. Have you had a chance in the last 5-6 days, whatever, to at least kind of reflect on the last 3 years of Tom Brady, choosing the Buccaneers, a franchise that has been, completely down for at least for the first 15 years before he got here, right?
Right.
And then the last 3 years coming and making this epicenter, I said, of football. Have you been able to reflect on maybe some of those moments that you'll remember from this time?
Yeah, it's funny. I'm the kind of guy, I like to live life driving in the car, looking at the front windshield rather than the rearview mirror, right? Because if you live life looking through the rearview mirror, you're going to crash, right? You can't drive in reverse. You got to drive straight ahead. At the same time, I mean, I get a little nostalgic too. The interesting thing for me is, just for me personally, I'm not going to sit here and rattle off all the things we all know about what Brady meant for this team and the franchise and the city. That anyone can do that. The two things I will remember personally, the very first time, because obviously the pandemic hit, and we couldn't be inside the facility. So we had those Zoom calls. It's one thing to talk to you guys here via StreamYard, or Tom Brady asking him questions via Zoom. That's different and it's cool, but it's not as cool as being in person. And the very first time I asked Tom Brady a question at the podium, and I'm sitting in the front row. And so Tom's 10 feet away from me. And I've been doing this a long time. I'm entering year 28. I usually don't get rattled or have any type of, wow, welcome to the NFL moments. I did back when I was like 24, 25. Tom Brady's different. He is an icon.
He give you the butterflies.
He's not a celebrity. He is an icon. He is, the Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Muhammad Ali. It's that realm, right? He is a certified NFL rock star. And here's the thing with Tom, and I'll kind of just try to demonstrate this on StreamYard here. So when you're at the podium and you ask a question, your subject, whether it's Todd Bowles, Tom Brady, whoever, is looking at you while you ask the question. But then sometimes they'll look at you for the answer. Then they'll kind of go around the room because they're talking to all the other media members, not just you. And so they'll kind of come back and look at you for a second, but they're looking at Rick Stroud or JP Peterson or Jenna Lane or whoever, Matt Matera. When Tom Brady answers your question, it is like tractor beam, tunnel vision. Yep. It's like the room fades to black and there's a spotlight on you and Tom. And it's a very personal way he answers your question. And sometimes Tom will give very short answers because he has that internal clock in his head. He's like, I'm going to give you 8 minutes. Maybe it'll be 4 questions between all of you in the media. Maybe it'll be 8, depending on how long my answers are. Sometimes he likes to filibuster, right, and give you a long answer because it shortens the number of questions he has to take. Exactly. Tom's a very smart guy. Yep. But there was I think the very first question I asked, he even said "good question," and I'm thinking, holy shit, ask Tom a good question, right? And then he locked into me for like 4 minutes, like with this Medusa stare, and I really felt like I was like turning to stone. So there was that moment for me, which was pretty wild. The second one was after his last game. I literally walked out of the stadium with Tom, and Tom really did not get a chance to, and this is on purpose, really know anybody in the media, right? There's no one-on-ones with Tom. It was all people at the press conference and all that. He knew who I was. I've asked enough questions, and he's been around. He knows what Pewter Report is. But when he left the locker room, I happened to be walking out too, and I shook Tom's hand for the first time, and I said, hey, because he just thanked the media, and I said, hey, thank you for acknowledging the media and just for your time and your greatness here these last couple of years. And he's like, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. You guys do, really good work. And, I just kind of we kind of walked out of there together. What do you say after that? Well, it was just like some it's just some small talk. But I said, my 2 cents worth. I said, I still think you can play. I still think you should come back. And he's like, okay, well, we'll see, and he was like not dismissive about it, but he wasn't like acknowledging like I'm going to. It wasn't giving me any intel, but it was just a cool like walk out of the stadium. And of course, I'm thinking at the same time, is this the last time I'm going to physically see Tom Brady, or is he going to come back? But those are the two moments that kind of stand out to me.
And I know you did because you're a professional.
Yeah. Oh, I almost did. I almost got the selfie. I swear to God, I almost did.
Thank you for not doing that. That's much better. That is so much better than not doing it.
Yes.
Than doing it.
Yeah.
That is so much better. God bless you.
I thought about it for sure. Don't get me wrong.
Of course. But that's better than having a selfie. You have nothing to show for it except your professional pride, my man.
Professional pride and a great memory and a hand I have not washed since shaking Tom Brady's hand.
Absolutely.
I wore a glove in the shower and never washing his hand again.
Hopefully he just drank from the fountain of youth, or he has that bottled water that's got youth in it, and you got a little bit on you. So
that would be great.
Yes. So all right. So you think he's hung it up? I thought that last week, but listening to him yesterday, I'm like, oh my God, here we go again.
I mean, he was honest on his podcast. He's always going to want to play.
Right.
He's always going to think that he can, but there just comes a point in time where you shouldn't. And I think that I think he's there for his kids' sake, and he's going to be 46 this year, man. I'm going to be 51 in April. I am not a professional athlete.
It's just a number.
I don't know, man.
Especially him.
He's never wanted to get hit. He really, really, really didn't want to get hit this year.
Oh my God, boy, that was that last interception to me should have been, I think, was what sent him into retirement. Quite frankly, but because that was embarrassing. But we're not going to remember that. We're going to remember a lot of other stuff.
Yeah. So I'll just say this. For me, I've kind of turned the page on Brady. We've kind of turned the page on Brady at Pewter Report. We're moving forward, and we're looking at this quarterback situation. We ran a poll yesterday on Pewter Report. We have a new one up right now today. We had 3,500 votes on it. Who would you like to see as the quarterback of the Buccaneers? And the guy who won the poll was Derek Carr. It was the choices of Derek Carr, Aaron Rodgers, Kyle Trask, or Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield was a distant fourth, like 8%. Carr won the poll by, I think, 10% over Rodgers, who won it by 5% in the second place over Trask. So the new poll we have is let me get an update here.
We did one similar this morning, and it's pretty much similar right now. 46% Carr, 28% Trask, 15% Rodgers. I put Jameis in there just for fun. He's getting 11%.
Oh, that's pretty good.
11%.
Yeah. Well, in our poll right now, we've got just about 900 votes. It's only been up an hour. Derek Carr, 46%. Kyle Trask, 24%.
How about that?
A rookie quarterback from the 2023 draft, like an unnamed rookie, 17%. So only 7% behind Carr. And then Jimmy Garoppolo at 12.7. I don't think anybody wants to see Jimmy G here in Tampa.
I don't think he'd be a bad option, to be honest with you, but I get it. The dude gets a bad rep.
Well, he also gets hurt a lot, too. That's part of the problem.
That's for damn sure. And so one thing is what the fans want.
Yeah.
I want to get your clairvoyance working here at Pewter Report. And you told me a name that I did not get very excited about when you texted to me. But nobody ever does. But he goes out and wins football games. Not a lot, but, Jacoby Brissett. Oh, please.
Yeah, Jacoby Brissett. I could see it.
I can see it too. Absolutely.
And here's how I could see it. First of all, I don't think the Glazers, Todd Bowles certainly, and Jason Light want to tank. I don't think that's an option at all for a couple of reasons. Number one, they tried this before, right? They tanked for Jameis in the 2014 season, and it ended up costing Lovie Smith his job, right? And that's usually what happens. Todd Bowles drafted Sam Darnold for the next head coach. That's usually what happens with rookie quarterbacks.
Yep.
Everybody can point to, but look at Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert and Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. Okay, great. That's 6 first-round quarterbacks. Okay, the league, last time I checked, has 32 NFL teams.
Right.
So that's not even a third of the league that found their Pro Bowl caliber guy in the first round. And that's usually where you have to have him, right? Jalen Hurts was not a first-round pick. Neither was Tom Brady. But usually you got to find him there. This year's draft class features 4 first-round guys. CJ Stroud from Ohio State, who's not going to be there. And the Buccaneers don't have the ammo to go up into the top 5 and make that happen. Bryce Young, who's not going to be there. Will Levis Is he closer to being a top 15 guy, or is he a top 5 guy? The pre-draft process will let us know. He's the Kentucky kid. And then you've got Anthony Richardson from Florida, who is as inaccurate as they come. He's a great athlete, but he's not Cam Newton.
Nope.
And, he might be there at number 19, but I don't want the Buccaneers to draft an inaccurate quarterback. We've seen what that looks like. I mean, Josh Freeman, Trent Dilfer, et cetera. So having said all that, the Glazers have blown up the franchise. They did it in 2009, right? They cut everybody. They went with the youth movement. So between 2009 and 2015 with Jameis, they gave Jameis a first overall pick, 5 years to become the guy. They didn't make the playoffs until they got rid of him. So from 2007, which was the last playoff berth under John Gruden, to 2020, that's over a dozen years of futility.
Mm-hmm.
No playoffs, 2 winning records, a 10-6 record under Raheem, and a 9-7 record in Dirk Cutter's first season. And that's it.
Yep.
So the Glazers have been in NFL purgatory, and they caused it. They did it twice, 2009 and 2015, and it didn't work. I don't know what their appetite is to do that again. The other thing is Todd Bowles wants to keep his job. You don't do that by losing games and tanking for Caleb, crashing for Caleb, or whatever it is, Caleb Williams. Jason Light, how many general managers get to hire 4 head coaches? I don't know many. Right. He came in with Lovey. His call was promoting Dirk, which I understood it at the time. You have Dirk, you have Bruce Arians. He had to sign off on Todd Bowles. That's 3. So if he cans Bowles at some point, is he going to be around to pick number 4? That's rare.
Yeah. And
then last but not least, the NFC South is still there for the taking.
Right.
Right. You're right. It's not like this is a division where, there are a clear front runner or 2. It's not like the AFC East, where pretty much pencil in the Bills for winning the division. And then it's going to be a dogfight between the Patriots and the Dolphins for the second spot, maybe a playoff spot there.
And if Aaron Rodgers goes to the Jets, they're a contender.
Then they could be. Exactly. The NFC South, Jameis is going to get cut in New Orleans. Is Desmond Ridder the guy in Atlanta? Is Sam Darnold the guy in Carolina? He'll be on his 3rd coaching staff between 2 teams in like 3 years.
It's wide open.
It's wide open again.
Yeah. That's why you can't tank. You get an experienced quarterback in here with this group.
Yeah.
And I'm still very suspect about Todd Bowles, quote, changing the culture.
Sure.
But you're right in the thick of it right there. And I think I want to talk about Derek Carr here with a little bit before we get to the Senior Bowl kids. What's the mechanism of him getting here? And I've heard a lot of people talk about it. It's going to take a 2nd-round pick to trade for him before the 15th, which is when, and we got to remember this, Derek Carr is doing no favors to the Raiders.
Right.
He's got a no trade clause.
Yeah.
So they can come up with every trade scenario they want. He can just say, you know what? I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Now, you end up forfeiting some money there, but somebody's going to pay Derek Carr a lot of money
for
that quarterback. So he's in control. And if he wants to go to the Bucs, and there's been some smoke about that, there's been some connection about that, I think it would be a great place for him.
Yeah.
Looking at all the options that he has, it's not a bad option.
Right.
I think he's a great leader. I think he's a really good football player. I think he would be a great fit here. I think he would win here. I think they would win the division and get a home playoff game. And then who the hell knows what happens in the NFC? Yeah. The Eagles are a very good football team, but they'll look very different next year.
Yeah.
So I think how do they get, how aggressive can the Bucs be to get Derek Carr here? Can they fit him under the cap? How do you see that whole scenario working out?
The interesting thing is, I almost think at first I thought a team like the Bucs are going to have to trade for Derek Carr just because he's worth something. There's value there to keep him away from other teams. But with Carr not having, or I should say with Carr having the no trade clause option, I think he can stick it to the Raiders.
Sure he can.
And just say, nope, I'm not going there. Nope, I'm not going there. Matter of fact, he could sit there and say, Tampa Bay's willing to trade a 3rd-round pick for you. And he could say, nope, I'd rather sign with Tampa Bay rather than give you any draft pick compensation.
Absolutely.
And so I think this is going to get out to the 15th. I think Derek Carr will actually be a free agent. And then it's a bidding war. And I think the Buccaneers are as good a place as any. You have 2 Pro Bowl offensive linemen, Ryan Jensen and Tristan Wirfs. And you've seen a team that has just recently been there and done that. They've won 2 division titles. and they've won a Super Bowl in 3 consecutive seasons. To me, Derek Carr wants to win.
Yeah.
He wants to win. He's been in the Pro Bowl, right? He's got the big contract. He wants to win. He's never really had a great defense either in Oakland or in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Right. So playing for a defensive-minded head coach will be interesting. I'm not going to say that he's going to get the job, but it seems to me like Dan Pitcher, the Bengals quarterbacks coach, might be the front runner for this job, whether it's him or Todd Monken, who may get a second interview. I think either one of those guys would have some real appeal with Derek Carr. They're both quarterback-friendly offensive coordinators, both pass-first coaches. And you know what? I give Todd Bowles and James Lyde a lot of credit. They're sticking with the trend. As much as Todd Bowles wants to run the ball more, and I think he does, he doesn't want to be a run-first team. He knows this is a pass-first league. He's a defensive coordinator. He knows that. And so everybody he's really talked to has been either a quarterback's coach, Keenan McCardell, the receivers coach, or a passing game coordinator. And so I think they're heading in the right direction there. You look at Dan Pitcher, his success with Joe Burrow, working hands-on with a young quarterback who's now a veteran quarterback. There's a lot to like there. And I think the Bengals can beat you a lot of different ways. It's not just the Jamar Chase show. Matter of fact, I went back and looked, statistically speaking, Higgins had just as many games where he was the leading receiver as Chase was.
Mm-hmm.
And they played 21 games last year in Cincinnati, including the playoffs. You had Higgins had 7, Chase had 7, and then between Tyler Boyd, Hayden Hurst, and Joe Mixon, that comprised the other 7 in terms of that. So when you don't have to lean on one guy, you can win a lot of different ways with a lot of different weapons. I think that's something that appeals to the Buccaneers because Byron Leftwich was not adaptable at all.
Right.
And you look at the Bengals offense and certainly up there in Buffalo, right? You had about 160 yards rushing on the ground against the Bills. They adapt and they win and they find a way to get it done, even with a banged up offensive line for yet another year. And I think that the pitcher would be a very interesting candidate. It's a little concerning. He hasn't called plays before, but you got to start somewhere, right? Zach Taylor had to start somewhere. Mike McDaniels had to start somewhere. Cal Shanahan had to start somewhere. These great offensive minds, they got to start calling plays somewhere. And in order to get to that head coaching job or the offensive coordinator job that they have. So.
All right, Senior Bowl. Who caught your eye? What do you think the Bucs are thinking? I know you thought your mock did a wide receiver.
Yeah.
I still think edge rusher, but in the draft will dictate that. Obviously, they're both.
This is a deep draft when it comes to edge rushers. There really are a lot of guys I think that can help Tampa Bay. And in our current mock draft, I'm wearing my Kansas State shirt.
There you go.
Because we're playing TCU tonight in basketball.
Okay.
Nick, you and I are going to have some wars next year. Your UFC, Twitter mafia, You
enjoying them?
I am enjoying because Iowa State, they're idiots. And I love how you're attacking Iowa State.
It was going after Iowa State and Texas Tech. And I guess people in Lubbock were trying to say that it's much more enjoyable there than it is in Orlando. And that's set off. And then they called them Central Florida, which you can't do. You can't call anybody. You can't call them Central Florida.
Exactly. No, I'm with you on that. And I've got some night allegiances. So I'm going to pick K-State over UCF, but any other game, I'll root for the Knights. But yeah, no, it's a fun little Twitter war that we have going on there. But anyways, Felix Anudike-Uzomah is a second-round edge rusher I gave the Buccaneers. The reason why we went first-round wide receivers is that this is not a deep class of wide receiver, which is kind of funny because college football is just such a pass-heavy league, and I think the NFL has been spoiled every year. It's just a glut of really good wide receivers. This year, it's just not the case. Mm-hmm. And Zay Flowers is a player. And listen, there's going to be a lot of holes on defense the Bucs have to fill.
Yes.
And I think out of all the picks, I gave the Buccaneers 2 offensive players, and the rest are defensive players. So I'm mindful of that. But in the first round, Zay Flowers out of Boston College, you put on the tape of this guy, he looks like AB. He looks like the second coming of AB. He's a shorter guy, but he's tough. He can actually go up and win contested catches. He tracks the deep ball well. The start-stop ability is insane. He's got the quick feet. He can separate. He played at a bad school in Boston College with a lot of quarterback issues. He didn't hit the transfer portal like Jordan Addison did to, hit the escape pod and get, go to where the grass is greener. He stuck it out there and he thrived. And he's a big time touchdown producer. Reminds me of Tyler Lockett and Antonio Brown quite a bit. And I know Brown was a 6th-round pick out of Central Michigan back in the day. Lockett was a 2nd-round pick out of K-State back in the day. If you redraft those players, they're 1st-round picks because of their production.
Absolutely. And
Tampa Bay, as much as we want to look at all the holes they're going to have on defense, and some will be filled in free agency, some will have to be filled in the draft, this is still a strong defense with the people they have returning. The problem was on the offensive side, scoring points.
Right.
So that's where the weakness was.
Did not look great.
Right. Julio Jones is going to be gone. Scotty Miller's going to be gone. Rashad Perriman's going to be gone. You're going to have a 30-year-old Mike Evans in a contract year, a Chris Godwin who is still working his way back, and Devin Tompkins, right? I don't think Russell Gage is a keeper. I think they're going to cut him. He was woefully underperformed last year, averaged less than 9 yards per catch. I just think that Jason Light looks at this and says,
made a mistake.
Yeah, we can find a receiver for a hell of a lot less than $10 million that's going to do more than catch, passes for 8.4 yards.
That was always a curious signing. You had to kind of reach to love it, but he was productive against the Bucs. But a lot of receivers have been.
Yeah. So this, you got to have wide receivers, and this is not great. So you might as well grab a really good one early. It might be Jordan Addison, it might be Zay Flowers. It might go defense in the 1st round, find a receiver in the 2nd. But they're going to have to do that. A kid I liked at the Senior Bowl was Jaden Reed from Michigan State. It reminds me a lot of Zay Flowers. And he was probably the best receiver there. Dontavian Hicks is a bigger guy out of Virginia that also had a really good week. The Tulane running back, man, this offense needs speed, right? We all agree this offense was old and slow last year. That's why Zay Flowers brings some speed and separating ability. Nick, I know you know all about Tyjae Spears, right? Yeah. He is electric and magic with the football in his hands as a receiver or a runner. I had him as a 5th-round pick. There's no way he's going in the 5th round now. The secret's out. Tyjae Spears is a dynamo. You can look at, and I think the best comp is actually another guy Kenneth Gainwell, who played at Memphis, right? And he's now going to the Super Bowl with the Eagles. He was a 5th-round pick because he sat out the COVID year and was kind of off the radar a little bit. But the measurables are almost the same, 5'9", 205 pounds, great receiver, great running back, tough, can slip and shake tackles, has got the burst that you're looking for. But then you look at last year, and James Cook from Georgia in the 2nd round to Buffalo. And so I can see the comp being there, and I think it's a lot closer to 2nd round than it is 5th round now. So Tyjae Spears or whoever, the East Carolina running back too, is a hell on wheels. I forget his name right now. Keaton, I believe. Keaton Mitchell. He is blazing fast. This team needs another running back with some speed to complement Rachaad White. I think they turned the page on Leonard Fournette.
Oh, God.
So speed on offense and then just a whole bunch of bodies on defense. Those are some names. Isaiah Foskey was a good pass rusher out of Notre Dame. I don't know that he's special, but he's kind of a steady Eddie that could just give you probably, 8 solid sacks a year and help you out on defense. There was a couple good defensive linemen. Carl Brooks from Bowling Green's a real sleeper as a mid-round pick. He's got a lot of production, big 300-pound guy that actually played edge rusher at 300 pounds and had like 10 or 11 sacks last year for Bowling Green. Yeah. I mean, he's a big dude. So those are a couple names. A lot of good tight ends in this year's draft class. The Purdue kid was special in Mobile.
He's one of those, a big one.
They could. I think Cade Otton ideally is you could get away with him as your starter, but I think ideally he's a number 2.
Yeah.
And if you had if you had like a Dalton Kincaid, the junior out of Utah, if he's the pick in the 1st round, I'm not opposed to that either. So there's just a lot of holes that this team's going to have. It's impossible to do a mock draft right now before free agency because you've got 10 Buccaneer defenders that are slated for free agency out of the 23 free agents. 10 of those guys saw 400 snaps or more on defense. So we're not just talking about starters. We're talking about guys that have started for at least a couple games like your Rakeem Nunez Roches, your Will Golstons, your Sean Murphy Buntings, in addition to the likes of the Jamel Deans and Levante Davids.
Yeah. Going to be an interesting offseason, so you got to be cued into Pewter Report. Scotty, tell everybody about your content, where they can get it.
Check us out in the mothership, pewterreport.com. We also have our Pewter Report podcast that come out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday during the off season all year long. And we've got one today at 4 o'clock, since it's Tuesday. So our podcasts on Mondays and Tuesdays are live at 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. Wednesdays and Thursdays, we go prime time to try to hit a different audience, maybe the people on the West Coast. And that's at 7 p.m. So you can check us out tomorrow night, 7 p.m., Thursday night, 7 p.m. on Pewter Report TV. That's our YouTube channel, Pewter Report TV. We ask you to go there and subscribe to our growing number of Pewter Report subscribers there. We're over 10,000. And you can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Pewter Report.
All right, Scotty, great stuff, my man. Always appreciate your time, and we'll chat with you down the line. Thanks, buddy.
Sounds good. Have a great week, guys. Thank you.
I'll wash that hand ever. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side, and I want to digest some of the stuff that Scotty just said, and we'll talk a little bit more Brady. We got some more from his podcast. We'll talk a little bit of Lightning after last night's 7-1 loss, but not much. Maybe more about tonight's game, what we'll see against San Jose. A couple other tidbits in college football as well coming your way. So lots more to come here on the JP Peterson Show in our second hour. Stay with us. Was your car totaled in an accident? Did your insurance company use Kelley Blue Book or NADA to appraise the value of your car? Chances are they didn't, and you got shorted maybe thousands of dollars. Call the Jeeves Law Group for a free case evaluation because your insurance company may still owe you money. 727-894-2929. It's a free call, so why not find out if you have a case? Insurance companies have been running this scam for a while, and most folks don't know if they've been shorted. Trust me. Scott Jeeves is a different kind of attorney, the kind insurance companies hate to go up against. He could recover thousands of dollars, so why not call? 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell them JP sent you.
JP here for Emerging Investigations, Tampa Bay's premier investigation agency. Do you suspect your spouse is cheating or involved in a divorce, that your spouse is hiding money, an ex-employee or current employee with suspicious behavior? Is there a criminal matter you need help with? If you need information you can count on, using the professionals at Emerging Investigations is a slam dunk. Emerging Investigations is a licensed and insured private investigation agency, family-owned. Emerging is your ideal resource to secure evidence and validation, allowing you to make informed decisions in life's biggest matters. Led by industry executive Brian D'Antonio, Emerging possesses the experience and resources to get needed results. Emerging Investigations maintains an excellent reputation as a premier investigation agency. They are known for results. You're not just hiring a PI, but an organized, dedicated team using state-of-the-art technology. Their proven investigative methods produce crucial information used in criminal cases, insurance fraud, and personal injury claims. Many local attorneys, industry agencies, and your concerned neighbors all count on Emerging Investigations. Just go to their website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's 813-291-FACT-3228. Get results you can trust in life's biggest matters. Emerging Investigations. Well, it's that time of year to renew or shop your health insurance provider, and you can get great health insurance for $20, $30, $50 a month. Just call 888-325-0605 to help navigate the health insurance marketplace. 1 out of 3 people in Florida are uncovered because they think they can't afford it. Not true. I made the call a couple of years ago, and they helped me get Blue Cross Blue Shield coverage, Florida Blue, for just $20 a month. Last year, it went up to $49. Oh, well. It all depends on your income and your family situation. It's a free call, 888-325-0605. They will ask for some income information. So if you have your tax returns available, that will be great, but you don't need it. They'll just answer some simple questions, and the highly trained reps will do the work for you to find out what your subsidy will be. 888-325-0605. And if you have a plan through your employer, you may be able to get it cheaper. It's a free call, so find out, folks. This has been a lifesaver for me and saved me thousands of dollars over the last few years, and you can choose your plan. It's a no-brainer. Find out. Make the free call, 888-325-0605.
Get covered like me and thousands of others. 888-325-0605. The PGA Tour's Valspar Championship returns this March 16th to the 19th with 4 days of golf action plus a host of fun activities that make it Tampa Bay's hottest spring sports ticket. Sam Burns, who won in a thrilling playoff last year, is looking to make it 3 wins in a row on the Copperhead course at Innisbrook Resort. He will be challenged by a top field that includes Jordan Spieth, returning for the first time in 5 years. The 2015 Valspar champ counts 13 PGA Tour victories, including 3 majors in his career. It will be a great field and great fun. Tickets are on sale now at ValsparChampionship.com for all tournament days, both grounds tickets and premium ticket options. You don't want to miss the 2023 Valspar Championship.
JP here for Italiano Insurance. If you've started a side hustle during COVID and the business has grown, well, you need business insurance, because if you get sued, you could lose all your personal wealth if you're not properly protected. That's right. Your home, your savings, everything could go. So get protected now. Call the great agents at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799, and a real human will answer the phone and get you protected. If you haven't shopped your business insurance in a while, you could be overpaying by thousands. One customer had their golf buddy handling his business insurance, then called Italiano to shop it around, and they saved him $26,000 a year. Yeah. So call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Italiano Insurance, protecting all the pieces of your life for over 60 years. Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately, or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
Hey, folks, it's still engagement season, and where better to get that special ring than the Gold and Diamond Source? The Gold and Diamond Source has the largest selection of engagement rings in the country, a literal jewelry super center with 30 times the inventory of any normal jeweler. You don't have to wait to spend any extra time waiting for them to bring something in. They have everything right there in-house, so why go anywhere else? And you can get up to 15% off this January if you buy something with the birthstone, which is garnet. Garnet and Gold, Florida State, get something for your favorite Seminole. And let's not forget the Emily collection from Emily Johnson Weintraub. Very affordable, real gold and diamond jewelry, always stylish and unique. Emily has created this fashion-forward gold, diamond, and gemstone jewelry line ideal for everyday wear. Each piece is designed to enhance your look by featuring eye-catching, modern, geometrical shapes. Really unique stuff. Got to check it out. And, of course, Julie and Steve Weintraub, great benefactors here in the local community. So let's keep it local. And you can get 0% financing for up to 5 years. Get a big ring for a little price. It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, Bay Area Modern Medical Center. If you're looking at losing weight, looking to lose weight, or testosterone replacement therapy, we talked to Chris Lugo yesterday about stem cell therapy. He's got some clients that he's set up down in Costa Rica, I believe they're going, or somewhere in South America, Central America, where you can get those embryonic stem cells that are not FDA approved. Don't get me started. That was a great conversation. If you missed that with Chris Lugo yesterday, we talked about Ryan Jensen and his rehab, his historic rehab using stem cells, which we told you about 2 months ago. Yeah, it was a fascinating conversation. So if you want to check that out, it's on our podcast page, and you can always find it up on YouTube and on Twitter as well. All right, so you guys we have a lively discussion going on in our comment section here on YouTube and Facebook, and also you can hit us up on Twitter as well. We have a quarterback poll going that you can take as well, so jump on at FanStreamJP or at the JP Peterson Show. Very similar to the results that they're getting at Pewter Report.
Yeah, which I'm glad to see that everybody's on the Derek Carr train because I'm 100% behind it. But as I was just telling you in the break, where is the Kyle Trask love coming from with Bucs fans? Yeah, I guess that's the easy answer. Okay, because listen, I know you threw Rodgers in there because he's a big name, but the chances of him coming here are virtually zero, right? But at the same time, just take everything out of the equation. Don't look me in the eye and tell me you'd rather have Kyle Trask than Aaron Rodgers. Yet I see that with so many polls here with Bucs fans.
Come on.
We need to let go. Let go of Kyle Trask. We had to do it as Florida State people. You had to let go of Jameis Winston. And some people, 11%, are not ready to let go. You need to let go.
How about that? That's interesting.
We're done. We're not eating any more W's. We're done.
You don't eat any more W's?
We're done eating W's.
The problem with Jameis now is he's been hurt a lot. He's been hurt a lot.
Yeah, he's facing his NFL, what's the word?
Mortality. Yeah.
He's facing it already at 27,
a major
28.
knee injury and a significant back injury. That's not good. Does not portend well for your durability down the line. And that guy, because he plays like such a warrior, he plays so hard.
And whereas he's missed a lot of games, Derek Carr has only missed 3.
Yeah, very
his
durable.
Entire career.
Extremely durable, and that means something. That really, really means something. I mean, look how the 49ers have been derailed. Mm-hmm. If you had a quarterback that they believe could show up every day, it'd be a big deal. So that's why I think Derek Carr is so. I think the Bucs fans love him, and I think he likes. We were just in the break there talking about what his other possibilities are. The Jets thing. If Aaron goes to the Raiders, which I think he might. I think that situation sets up well for him in terms of being a West Coast guy, LA. He has a house there. He can do Jeopardy. He can do the whole 9, right? He can go do
whatever
his thing.
Aaron Rodgers, kombucha, whatever he does. I don't know.
He's not far from the Sonoma Desert where he can go smoke the mescaline or whatever else he doing, Hiawatha or whatever the hell he's doing.
Ayahuasca.
Whatever. So I see that as a thing. So then Derek Carr, he could also look at Carolina.
I was going to say Carolina's
an interesting spot with Frank Reich there. And I don't know if they have any connection I don't think they do, but Frank Reich there, obviously, I think a really good coach, and they've got some emerging weapons there. Well, they got to go
DJ Moore's a really good.
He's a really good receiver.
Really good receiver.
Yeah. They've got, they're young.
The line is a lot more improved.
Yeah, they're up and coming team. So I could see that as somewhere he might want to go. But I think also Tampa Bay looks like it's more ready to win. I was telling you, it's almost like 2020. What made Tampa Bay so coveted by Tom Brady as a destination? Love the roster.
You love the roster. You love the coaching staff.
The coaching staff here, I don't know. I think that could, if I'm choosing between Todd Bowles and Frank Reich, I'm going to Frank Reich. I mean, I hate to say that, but I'm going to Frank Reich.
I think, though, if you're Derek Carr, you just want somebody who's stable, in a sense of no drama, no BS.
Well, I tell you this.
I feel like he's had so many head coaches that have been like that.
Well, this is another thing, why the OC hasn't been hired. If they're having talks, and folks, these things happen. Yeah, the Bucs are tampering with Derek Carr, just like everybody else is. If Derek Carr can pick his OC, that's attractive. If there's somebody that he wants to work with in an offense that he knows already, they're going to change the offense. Why not make it an offense that your quarterback already knows? And I don't know. Again, I don't know who that guy is.
Sure. But I think though the two names that obviously Scott had mentioned there, Dan Pitcher, who seems like he's in the lead, and Todd Monken. I feel like those guys kind of speak for themselves.
I think Monken is, I think he has better options, obviously, but I think Monken would be much more agreeable to coming here if you knew it was Derek Carr. Like I said, if you missed it, I was speaking with the ex-NFLer who knows Tom Monken really well, and he said that Monken wants to get back to the pros. He's a no-nonsense guy, but he's not coming to the Bucs without knowing who the trigger man is, and also is not, the Todd Bowles situation is an issue for Monken as well.
Yeah, and if you look at Monken, if you look at the situation that the other situations out there, like Baltimore is like, I think probably I don't know if I'd put it in front of the Bucs.
Sure you would.
Probably, yeah, because you got Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
But
you got an MVP to work with.
Yeah, but right now, I just don't know where that relationship's going.
Exactly.
So
That's another thing.
There's a lot to think there.
That's true
Todd
too.
Monken.
That's true too. But there's ways to get Monken here. And if you're the Bucs, and listen, the Glazers have the resources to do it. They can go get Todd Monken and they can get Derek Carr, put them together, and I'm ready. Sign me up for that.
You couldn't do much better than that on the other side of Tom Brady.
No, and I'll say it again. And I know, look, Todd Monken has been a head coach at Southern Mississippi and did really well. He's been in the pros. He wants to get back to the pros, and he certainly has aspirations to be a head coach. He's the number one offensive coordinator out there right now. Is he not on the market?
Yeah.
The number one guy. Everybody wants Todd Monken, 2-time national champion, right? Merging offenses
took the Browns back to the playoffs.
Took the Browns to the playoffs with Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
So if I'm the Bucs, I'm swinging big. And I say, I'm going to make Todd Monken the head coach and the offensive coordinator. Go get your staff, put your staff together. We're going to get you Derek Carr. Let's go.
Yeah.
Who's not? Any Buck fans out there not up for that? And you got to, this is the situation. Derek Carr is going to be able to choose where he wants to go. You go show him some love like that. Like, not only do we want you, we're going to get you the best offensive coordinator. You're going to have an opportunity to work with him. And you have great weapons here, a really good offensive line, emerging defense. Why would Derek Carr not want to do that? And here's your alternative, folks. Todd Bowles coming back with Dan Pitcher as your OC and Kyle Trask as your quarterback.
Yeah.
Or Jacoby Brissett. What you doing? If I'm Jason Light, I choose A. And
it's really simple, in my opinion.
No, but we can't fire Todd Bowles. Can't fire Todd Bowles. Can't fire. Yes, you can.
Yeah.
And again, I would do everything in my power. I would give Todd Bowles. And listen, the Glazers sell Man United, which they're supposed to be doing. They have plenty of money. I'd throw money at Todd Bowles and say, look, the head coach thing just didn't work out for you. The only way to get Monken in here is to give him the head coaching job and give him the OC job. And please, please, please stay. And if he doesn't stay, that's on him. That's on him. So if I'm the Bucs, that's where I'm going.
Yeah, and I actually started looking here around the league to try to see what the other possible, because I'm just looking for Derek Carr's point, because I think he's going to be the quarterback with the most options, because I think Rodgers already has his down to 2. And he can control where he goes, right? So we mentioned Carolina would be a good one, but there's other teams like Indianapolis, which I think is a bust.
You talk about Rodgers?
No, I'm looking for Derek Carr's sake. I'm trying to compare the Bucs situations to some of these other situations.
Yeah.
I think this is way better than Indianapolis. I think it's way better than Houston. I think it's way better than
the Jets.
The Jets, to me, have so much youth on their side.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of really good youth at that skill positions.
But think about the division.
Division's
think about
tough.
the division's
but
tough.
Here's another team to throw out there, and it's in their division.
And by the way, New York Jets organization, disaster organizationally.
Here's a team that I didn't even think of, but I think they obviously need a quarterback. Is what about a New Orleans? And New Orleans has Dennis Allen as the head coach, and I'm just playing the relationships game here. Dennis Allen.
I'm going to throw in a factor here
that
I think matters, and people, especially in New Orleans, which I don't give a crap, but nobody wants to live in New Orleans right now. New Orleans is a disaster as a city. I've been there a few months ago. New Orleans is not safe. It is a disaster of a city. If you do not want to live in New Orleans, I'm sorry. The people there, you're a victim of your government and everything else that's going on there. It's a nasty, disgusting city that gets wrecked by hurricanes every other. I'm sorry. The people are wonderful. I love the people, but there's too much crime. If I have a place where I'm going to live for 6 or 7 months of my life, I'm going to Tampa Bay. I ain't going to New Orleans.
I'm going off football standpoint.
Okay.
Standpoint.
But this, I'm just saying that's part of
standpoint.
your decision.
I'm throwing New Orleans out there because I'm looking from a relationship standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And their head coach is who? Dennis Allen. Who was the head coach who drafted Derek Carr?
It's true.
Dennis Allen.
True.
Just playing the relationship game.
Yeah,
So
no,
I think it's an
yeah.
option. The other one that I think honestly may be on the same level as Tampa Bay is Washington, because I think they're a quarterback away. Truly, they have all the weapons, good defense, defensive head coach, checks all those boxes. I think that's a really good option as well. So
Dysfunctional organization.
It is a
man.
dysfunctional organization.
Dysfunctional organization.
And as I just said, that would be the one drawback, because I think Derek Carr wants to go somewhere stable. Tampa Bay all of a sudden has become stable, right? We can't really deny that at this point.
No, Brady's brought a cachet now to Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
And I think that matters. I think if you follow in the footsteps of Tom, if it's good enough for Tom Brady, it's good enough for me.
And then the last team that I kind of checked here was Tennessee. But I think Tennessee is trending completely downwards. Don't have Derrick Henry's on the back. I don't know if he's on the back line of his career, but you're kind of waiting for it because he hasn't shown any decline.
Well, it's just the running back, especially the way he plays.
Yeah, the weapons
you saw it last year, and it's not going to get any better.
To me, the weapons aren't there.
Nope.
So
great city, good coaching staff. But I don't see that happening.
So when you compare the Bucs to around the league, I think they have to at the least be in the top 3.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. If I'm the Glazers, this is a bold move. It's a bold move that needs to be made.
They're a bold ownership.
That needs to be made. And look, Todd Monken's never been a head coach in this league. All right, but again, you're not going to get him bringing in Jacoby Brissett. So then who you got? Then you're going Todd Bowles, Dan Pitcher, Jacoby Brissett, or Kyle Trask. Or, I mean, you go Todd Monken, and by the way, he comes in and he invigorates the culture. He invigorates the culture right away, like something new.
Who?
Todd Monken.
As a what?
As a head coach.
He's not being a head coach.
What? Everybody says he's not. Why not? Why you think it's better to go back through this with Todd Bowles? I'm sorry.
I'm not saying it's better to go through the option with Todd Bowles.
I'm
just saying
Monken's not coming here with Jacoby Brissett.
The risk reward with Todd Monken to me is just too much.
Well, then have your Dan Pitcher and Todd Bowles and Jacoby Brissett.
I think you're.
Good luck to you.
But
good luck to you. You got.
You sound like you're not on the Dan Pitcher train at all.
He never even called plays, bro. He's never called plays. You're getting, and you think Derek Carr is coming here to work with some rookie guy who, by the way, is under a system that is driven by the head coach and the greatest quarterback in the world. I mean, I'm sorry, and I don't know Dan Pitcher from that light pole right there, but I could do. Let me coach under Zach Taylor and have Joe Burrow, and you're gonna. I don't know who he is. Maybe he's the secret sauce. Maybe he's. But I don't think he was there at LSU. I can watch Joe Burrow play and understand why he's good. Dan Pitcher, I'm sorry.
There's so many young head coaches that had rarely called plays or hadn't really called plays much.
So
that have gotten jobs recently, and a lot of them have panned out. Like Mike McDaniel's a great example.
Fine. Go Dan Pitcher. Derek Carr ain't coming here for Dan Pitcher and Todd Bowles.
I don't know about that. Dan Pitcher has worked next to Joe Burrow.
Exactly. What has he done? Yeah, well, guess what? Joe Burrow ain't coming with him.
You're putting that all on as a Joe Burrow thing?
And Zach Taylor. Yes, Zach Taylor's running the offense.
The quarterback coach is very close to the quarterback.
Yeah, but what's he doing? Come on, man. What's he doing?
Do you feel the same way about the quarterback coach that they were interviewing in New York as well? No, the perception's different because it's Daniel Jones.
Yes, but Brian Daboll's running the show. Yeah, every place I see where there's here's you go. BA, Byron Leftwich. Okay, if Byron Leftwich would have left to become the head coach of Jacksonville, how do you think that's going to go? It looked good because he's working with Tom Brady. They're scoring 30 points a game. It must be Byron Leftwich. Has to be Byron Leftwich. Oh, it's not Byron Leftwich. This is what I see. And it's unfair to Dan Pitcher. It's unfair to these guys. I get it. But to me, that is an absolute red flag. Offensive head coach, play caller, running the show. You're the quarterback coach, and you're working with Joe Burrow. And you're going to say, oh, well, he's had great success.
I'll give you a good example.
Dude.
I'll give you a couple good examples real quick.
What's he drying the balls and throwing them to
I'll
Joe
give you
Burrow?
some examples.
And running the.
Hold up.
I'm sorry, Dan. This is so not nice to you. I apologize, but I'm trying to make a point.
What was Mike McDaniel doing before he was the Dolphins head coach? He spent 1 year as the OC, whatever that means when you're under Kyle Shanahan's staff. It looked like he had a good grasp of offense. in year one when he had Tua in there? I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. What about Kevin?
He also
well,
had
hold on.
Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and Tua for a little bit.
Okay. Derek Carr, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin.
When Tua went out, how great was that play?
How did Sean McVay look this year?
Well, he's fantastic, right? It's all about his brain, Mike McDaniel. It's all about him.
What about
you need players, bro? What
about Kevin O'Connell, who was 1 year under Sean McVay as the OC, whatever that means, goes to Minnesota and their offense was great this year.
It was. I'll give him credit. I'm not saying he can't do it, but to me, that's a red. Give me a guy like Todd Monken, I've seen him work at Tampa Bay, and they were a successful.
I'm not
offense.
disputing you that Todd Monken's the number one choice.
National champion. He's been a head coach. He's ready. To me, he's ready to be a head coach again. And why not? And the league is going towards these wide open offenses. He came into Georgia and revamped that whole thing. For God's sakes, he won back-to-back national champions with Stetson Bennett. Now that's a guy who I think is doing something. Okay, and he ain't coming here to be an OC under Todd Bowles. And Derek Carr ain't coming here to be for a first-time play caller.
But Derek Carr,
Pitcher.
Well, Derek Carr is.
You can. You have your draft: Dan Pitcher, Todd Bowles. I'm going to take Todd Monken, Derek Carr. Who's coming with me?
But you make it sound like Derek Carr, like Derek Carr's this next messiah coming in here, and he has to pick his OC to work with. It's Derek Carr. Like, I'm not going to lose sight of the fact that it's Derek Carr, who's 63 and 79 as a quarterback in the National Football League. He's not picking. Derek Carr does not have the right to pick OCs.
With the worst defense of the last
decade. I know that. Listen.
John Gruden running.
You're making me disparage Derek Carr right now because I've already brought all these points up weeks ago when the Raiders did their BS. Okay, I love Derek Carr, but I'm not going to sit here and act like Derek Carr's a top 10 quarterback in the NFL because he's not.
I think he is.
He's somewhere in that 12 to 18 range.
He's close to 10. But again, but the thing is, what are the options right now? What are the options right now? And to me, I'm going with my option A. I'm going because I tell you, you can make Monken the head coach like that, and you get him and that would bring. I'm only listen. I don't want Todd Monken to be the head coach if he's going to be, I don't know about that, but if it's Kyle Trask, to me, swing big, try to put something together, coach, OC, quarterback. And to go with this roster right now that listen, it needs an infusion. There's no question. It needs some infusion of speed. It needs some players on defense. It does. There's no question about that. But you got a great core. You got a great locker room. That culture, I think, still exists. I think it eroded last year because of a lot of crap that was going on with Brady, just to be honest with you. And I think when you remove that part of it, not that it wasn't great, and if Brady wanted to come back, I think you have to make some other bold changes, but I still think that this team with this division, you bring in a guy that is a top 10 top 12 quarterback in this league, who's done it, who's been durable, who's a great leader. Derek Carr, this is the part of it. And I heard a discussion this morning about leadership. Look at Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts was a second-round pick. Jalen Hurts is in that weight room at 6 a.m. squatting 600 pounds every morning in Philadelphia. You know who else is in there? The whole freaking team. That dude is a great leader. Derek Carr, to me, after what I've seen and what he's had to go through and what he's endured, is a great leader.
Yeah.
And with Richard Bisaccia as the head coach after that Gruden thing, took him to the playoffs. And his leadership, I think, was key in all of that. And I think leadership matters. And you bring in a guy like that because, who's going to be your quarterback after Tom Brady? Kyle Trask? I mean, that's a tough ask for anybody. You need somebody who's resilient mentally, who's been there before, who's done it and been through some stuff. And that's Derek Carr. And he may not be the greatest athlete, the greatest, Anthony Richardson's five times the athlete that Derek Carr is. But Derek Carr knows how to throw the damn football. He's thrown for over 4,000 yards, 8 times in his career, 9 times in his career. I think I saw a stat where of over 4,000 yards and less than 15 interceptions, there's only like 5 guys in the league that have done it, and that's Derek Carr. And he's working with a terrible organization. and a terrible defense. That's why his record is what it is. So I just, of what's out there, if I were the owners and I would look at Jason Light and I'd say, if these guys, we talked to Todd Monken, we liked it, we like what we heard, we didn't, whatever. You should know right now what that best combination. And again, if you went with that combination right now, I think Bucs fans would be invigorated, and I think the team. I think it's a whole new world.
To me, though, there's no problem with at this point just rolling with Bowles as the head coach. And if you brought Monken in here, I think I know you don't. I don't know how to phrase this because I know you acknowledge that Byron Leftwich was a problem, but
of course,
but you think that it's not as big of a deal. Maybe
I just think
I do, and I think a competent mind. I think Bowles might have a much better shot if he has a competent mind running the offense. I don't discount those things. So maybe that's why I'm going more so with Todd Bowles. And I'm not saying, listen,
you were the head coach.
I know that's on him. I know that's on him, right? I acknowledge that.
How can I trust him if he can't make the hard decisions, which we saw time and time again, him making the wrong decisions in the most critical decisions? How do we trust that that's going to change? His instincts are not good, or
I told you already, we're almost 90 games in. I know what he is as a head coach. I'm just saying that I'm going off of what the Bucs are doing right now, and they're telling you right now that Todd Bowles is the head coach next year. So I have to look at it from him being the head coach, and I think will have a much better shot of succeeding with Todd Monken as an OC than as
Todd
Byron
Monken
Leftwich.
Ain't coming here with Todd Bowles and no quarterback. He's not. I got the text. He's not coming. He's not coming without a quarterback and Todd Bowles. Not happening. I've got the information. That's not happening. So how are you going to get him here?
Well, we're tampering right now.
With who?
We're tampering. We're Derek Carr.
Well, everybody's tampering with Derek Carr.
Come on now.
Everybody is. All right, we'll take a break. We'd love to get your thoughts on this, guys. You can hit us up in the chat room at FanStreamJP. We got a poll going right now on Twitter for quarterbacks, so you can comment there as well. What's the best coaching quarterback scenario that you can dream up? We're brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance. Get your insurance checkup right now. They could save you hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars. If you don't have business insurance, you need that as well. 813-877-7799 is the number. And the Gold and Diamond Source. They've always got great sales, folks. It is Valentine's Day. Double the gift card situation going on over there right now. It is the best place to go if you're going to get some jewelry for your honey at Valentine's. That's the place to go. The Gold and Diamond Source. Keep it local here. Great local company, Julie and Steve Weintraub. We love them over there. Back in 3.
Time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com.
Well, it's that time of year to renew or shop your health insurance provider, and you can get great health insurance for $20, $30, $50 a month. Just call 888-325-0605 to help navigate the health insurance marketplace. 1 out of 3 people in Florida are uncovered because they think they can't afford it. Not true. I made the call a couple of years ago, and they helped me get Blue Cross Blue Shield coverage, Florida Blue, for just $20 a month. Last year, it went up to $49. Oh, well. It all depends on your income and your family situation. It's a free call, 888-325-0605. They will ask for some income information. So if you have your tax returns available, that will be great, but you don't need it. They'll just answer some simple questions, and the highly trained reps will do the work for you to find out what your subsidy will be. 888-325-0605. And if you have a plan through your employer, you may be able to get it cheaper. It's a free call, so find out, folks. This has been a lifesaver for me and saved me thousands of dollars over the last few years, and you can choose your plan. It's a no-brainer. Find out. Make the free call. 888-325-0605. Get covered like me and thousands of others. 888-325-0605. The PGA Tour is back. The Valspar Championship returns to Innisbrook March 16th to the 19th with 4 days of great golf action and a host of fun activities that make it Tampa Bay's hottest spring sports ticket. Every tournament day offers something different. On Friday, we'll celebrate St. Patrick's Day with the wearing of the green. Saturday means Valspar Live, where tournament patrons will be able to enjoy country music superstar Darius Rucker with a free 90-minute show after the conclusion of play. And on Sunday, we're going to crown a champion. You don't want to miss it. Everybody will be there. Tickets on sale now at valsparchampionship.com for all tournament days, both grounds and premium ticket options. You don't want to miss it. The 2023 Valspar Championship.
Hey guys, it's a new year, so are you looking for a new you to lose weight, lean up? There are many diets and chiropractors and weight loss clinics out there, but you know where to start? Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Chris Lugo, PA, and his professional staff will devise a personal plan for you that gets results and help you keep the weight off. Everybody metabolizes food and supplements differently, and many of these other approaches are designed for the masses, the quick weight loss, but it doesn't stay off, right? Chris will spend one-on-one time with you to find out what works best for you, so the weight comes off safely without use of drugs that only work temporarily. So call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. And Chris will join us each Monday at 11:45 to talk about your wellness and the significant injuries to athletes in the sports world. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
Pure Sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. We thank you guys so much for joining us. Brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center and the Jeeves Law Group. If you've been in an accident or your car's been totaled, the Jeeves Law Group can help you out. Go to jeeveslawgroup.com and give them a call. Tell them JP sent you. All right, so we're doing a poll here today, so we'd love you guys to jump in here. And it's like we don't give enough different options here because there's so many good options. So ours basically is giving you, who do you want to be the next quarterback? Kyle Trask, Derek Carr, Aaron Rodgers, or Jameis? Did 2 exclamation points there just for the fun of it. Jameis getting 11%. Derek Carr leading with 46%. Kyle Trask at 29%.
Dumb.
Aaron Rodgers at 14%. This is why I railed about it during the Atlanta week at the end of the regular season. To not have a full game of Kyle Trask under your belt to evaluate in this offseason is absolutely, again, terrible decision by Todd Bowles. Terrible decision. Terrible decision by Jason Licht. You just got to be better in that situation. That game was absolutely meaningless. And you were staring right in the face a huge quarterback decision for your next few years. And you had a chance to play a guy who's been in your system for 2 years and get him out there, not for 9 passes in the fourth quarter when nobody even cares anymore, but in the beginning of the game, give him all the reps during the week, get him ready and see what he's got, especially Kyle Trask, who's been known to be a gamer and not a practice player. You had a golden opportunity, and you as an organization didn't do it. And what did you get out of that? What could you have gotten? This is what good organizations do. And that was a bad decision. I think the Bucs are a good organization, but that was a really bad decision. And maybe there was a lot more that went into it that we don't know, that Tom Brady was throwing a hissy fit or whatever, and he wanted to play. I don't care. I don't care. He's not the coach. He's not the general manager. And guess what? Tom Brady isn't here anymore. And he may not be coming back ever again. And you want to defer to somebody in that moment. I don't know.
There was nothing, but again,
we could have a whole, because we don't know about Kyle Trask. You can sit there and say he's garbage. We don't know. We don't know. We'd know a hell of a lot more if he played the whole damn game.
I'll tell you what I do know. You know what I do know?
What?
He couldn't beat out Blaine Gabbert in practice.
Well, that's not true. Maybe Tom Brady said, I don't want the rookie as being my backup. I want Blaine Gabbert as my backup.
I don't think Tom Brady said that. I don't think Tom Brady gives a damn who his backup is.
No, I think that role has a lot of different parts to it.
No.
Yes, absolutely. And I don't think the Bucs were, they had stuff invested in Gabbert, and Gabbert would have been the better choice to go in there
because he's better than Kyle Trask.
Well, yeah, but Kyle Trask never got the reps, never got the. What did you see? You saw preseason, which I think he did some good
stood
things
out.
in.
He never has stood out to me.
I'm not
There's no
stumping.
zip. There's no zip in that arm at all. I see a guy that really can hardly move. He's just a big block. I don't see it.
I don't think he's what I would move forward with the modern game. But I'd know a hell of a lot. My point is,
but if that's the answer to the question, then what are we talking about?
I would know a hell of a lot more because I didn't think. Let me pick out a quarterback here. No, I thought Jalen Hurts was going to be really good in this league. There have been surprises, right?
The style of quarterback that he is.
I didn't think Geno Smith was going to blow up like he did this
year. That's never happened before.
Yeah, I mean,
but to me, Kyle Trask, the game is moving away from the Kyle Trask of the world.
I agree, but we would know my point is, we'd know a hell of a lot more right now if we were a mature organization.
Well, the Bucs don't believe in him. The Bucs don't believe in him. They don't believe in him.
You may be right. You may be right.
And Jason, to me, is quick to just say, you know what? I messed up. So Kyle Trask will sit and to the duration of his contract, and that's it. He is literally option like M in this operation, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I would, what they've shown us, but again, I don't know what the Brady factor is in there that they don't think a lot of Kyle Trask. So, we'll see. All right, some of the comments coming in regarding Carr. He has a window. He is not just making a lateral move. He wants as much control as his name can muster. It's not out of the realm of possibility that his agent reach out to Monken. Absolutely, he would. I mean, you can do that. They can do that. And if they can talk back and forth and say, hey, what do you think we could do in Tampa Bay? What does that look like? And I think when they go through it and look at the other options out there, looks pretty good. It looks really good to me. And James said, then hire Monken, but if Monken is confident in himself, he can fix Bucks offense and get a head coaching job next year. But why would you come to a situation where you don't even know who the quarterback is? And you don't have you don't have as much control over the offense because your head coach wants you to run the football.
What's the other option? Well, again, the only other option that really has a quarterback already there is the Ravens. That's it.
And that's a tenuous
situation. And even
situation.
that one's in flux.
And that's a tenuous situation. But again, if you go to Monken and say, we're going to make you a head coach and we're going to get you Derek Carr and put that whole thing together, then he has certainty. He has certainty. He gets what his ultimate goal is. He comes to a familiar place. We know him. We like him. People like him. He's a no-nonsense guy. There's a lot of connection there. But he's not coming here to work under Todd Bowles and not know the quarterback. That's a fact. I have that information. He's not doing that. What else? James says, so now Monken is demanding to be a head coach here. Did I say demanding? No, I didn't say he's demanding to be a head coach. I'm saying nobody else is offering him. Well, maybe somebody else. I don't know. But I think that's the way to entice him. He's not coming here without the trigger guy, okay, and working under Todd Bowles. Okay, that's not going to happen. So the only way to get him here would be to entice him with something more. That's my point. He's not demanding, once again, James, putting words in my mouth. That's not what I said. I said that's how you get him here. One game isn't going to tell the story on Trask. No. Guess what? You know a hell of a lot more about him than you do now. Duh.
I don't think so.
Duh. Not one. Yeah. Well, maybe you'd know that he sucks.
I know that already.
No, you don't. You've never seen him play in a game, in a full game. How do you know? Unequivocally, you know that? How do you know? You just said that when he was in 7th on the depth chart at Florida. And he lit up the SEC for 2 years.
If you were evaluating Kyle Trask right now.
Am I wrong? Would you have said that at Florida?
What?
When he was on the bench at Florida, you said, that guy's trash. Wait a minute. He just threw for.
There's a hell of a ton of quarterbacks who are productive in college that don't pan out.
I know. My point is, you just said the same thing about him there.
But by the way, there was a reason Kyle Trask was also buried on Florida's depth chart for years. There's a reason for those things.
He's a gamer. That's
the reason for those things.
He's a gamer, which I want.
Tim Tebow was a gamer.
Yeah.
Gator fans must not like me.
They do not like you at all. All right, so let's. I wanted to get back to. We got to play the sound from Cameron Jordan. You still got that? because this was. Oh, and I want to get to the Belichick stuff as well. We haven't played that. We have a few more minutes here. Let's go back to the Belichick stuff on Brady's career. This was Belichick last night on the Let's Go podcast, and it was stunning. I think to hear this come out of just the way he said it. Let's listen. It's very interesting.
The greatest career, the great person. It was such an opportunity and an honor for me to coach Tom, and I guess it's got in at some point, but it's the greatest one ever. So congratulations, Tom.
Appreciate it.
Tom, what did Bill do to bring out the best in you?
I think it's more what did he not do to bring out the best in me. He,
choking up.
Everyone always says I was just very lucky. I mean, I think part of it, I came into my career and got drafted by the Patriots. I always joke, I had no fucking idea where New England was when I got drafted. I mean, I flew into Providence, which really confuses you if you're coming from the West Coast, because I'm like Boston, Providence, and it was Coach Belichick's first year there, and we came in together. And I always think for so many young players, who's going to be there? Anybody could get drafted to a place. Who's going to turn you into something? Who's going to develop you? Who's going to take you under their wing? And sometimes it's a player that does it. And I definitely had a lot of players do that. And obviously, I had someone that really saw something in me that, not a lot of other people did. And
that was interesting, And I tell you what I got out of it, listening to those two last night was, the love fest has come back. And I think Brady really appreciates Belichick a lot more after especially the last season that he went through. And he clearly was not on board with a lot, as he's told this to his friends, that things were not buttoned up as he wanted here at Tampa Bay. And the thing is, I don't think he's ever going to go anywhere that's as buttoned up as
No, it was never going to be as buttoned up.
Yeah. Which is I think for a long time was a huge plus for Belichick, but you kind of look at it in the last couple of years, it's been dysfunctional. That no OC thing last year was
I just felt like at the end, at the time with New England, they were coming off a year where it was his worst year, right, up until this one, and it just felt like there was no Gronk. He had just retired, and everything was harder. It was hard. They didn't have the weapons anymore. It was just they could barely grind out 20 points, which is kind of like what the Bucs was this year. Defense probably wasn't up to the same. And then everybody, is talking about this rift and this and that and the other.
It's a lot of noise.
And I think he just wanted to be like, I just need to go somewhere far away.
Yep.
And you know what? Now that I have these, I feel like I can still play. I feel like we might have reached our end here. Like he felt it. I think he felt it.
Yep.
Right? He saw Mahomes. He saw Mahomes in the league, and he's like, you know what? We got this guy last year. I don't know if we can keep doing it. I'm going to go somewhere where I know I have all these weapons, and it'll be easier on myself.
Yeah.
Right. And I think he made the right decision.
Offensive minded coach.
Yes.
BA.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I clearly think he made the right decision. I mean, 2-year anniversary of the Super Bowl.
That's right. That's right. So
I think
let us never forget.
He made the right decision. But at the end of the day, those guys won 6 Super Bowls together. They had 17 playoff appearances in 20 years. The greatest dynasty in football. There will never be another dynasty like that, in my opinion, in football. So he's a Patriot. He is now that he's a Patriot.
Yeah. He is, and that's his lasting legacy.
That's his legacy. He will always be known as a New England Patriot.
I just cannot stop thinking about him going back there now after listening to these.
Well, hold on. I think this is funny, though. I think this is funny because I believe before Brady retired and we were speculating, who was the first one who said that New England, and you
I said,
you laughed at
no
me.
ways. No
you
way
laughed
he's
at
going
me.
I did. I
you
agree.
laughed at me, but now we've switched places because I don't think he's playing at all.
I'm listening to that last night, and he's getting choked up, and I still think he wants to play now.
Because those guys are like father figures to him. They really are.
He could go back to New England, one last season. But that team is just not. I mean, they got a great defense.
That team ain't there.
They got a great defense.
That team ain't there.
Yeah.
I think Bill might have lost a step here a little bit.
Yeah, they're going to have to bring in an offensive coordinator too. That's for damn sure.
No.
He needs an offensive coordinator of his own. Did we play all of it now?
We played all the Brady sound. I'll get the Cam Jordan one here.
This jerk off. How does this guy? The Saints have won one Super Bowl, and he wasn't there when they won it, right? He wasn't part of that team. So, and he's been there forever. And yes, they've beaten the Bucs in the regular season, but last year they got swept by the Bucs. Hello. And also, you lost in the biggest game that you had a chance to win the Super Bowl that year, and you lost to Tom Brady, even though he threw 3 picks. I get it, but you lost to him. So here's Cam Jordan on the retirement of Tom Brady.
A big change this year with somebody leaving your division. He says for good, and Tom Brady. I know you've had a lot of fun with those battles. What was your reaction when he says he's putting it up for good?
Well, this time he was able to say he's putting it up for good, right? Last time there was too many leaks that happened. It tainted, let the man retire. We salute him. We salute him and wish him the best. Just not, in whatever next endeavor that is. We're glad that he's out of the division. The Tampa Bay will probably go back to where Tampa Bay has been.
But the Super Bowl? Was he talking about the Super Bowl?
I think he was talking about the Super Bowl.
The playoffs the last 3 years? Is that what he's talking about? I don't know what
I don't
he's.
follow Cam there.
What has he won?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Okay. Yeah. Good for you.
The biggest underachieving team of the past
You
decade.
could live in that godforsaken city and yeah.
All
you
right.
go back
On
to
that
being what
note,
the
I'm
Saints
cutting
are.
you off.
You don't want the cartels of New Orleans.
No, I
coming
don't. I don't.
storming
no.
through the door.
No. I don't want the word government ever said on this program again.
Unfortunately, we have to live under that. Our thanks to Scott Reynolds, who joined us today. Great stuff from Scott Reynolds from the Pewter Report. If you missed that, go back to the 10:30 portion of the show for the till about 11:05. We had a long conversation with him about the draft and Tom Brady and what's next for the Bucs in the OC situation. All right, we're going to start getting into the Super Bowl big time. We're going to have some guests from the Super Bowl tomorrow, so we will have that for you and start looking ahead to the big game. Have a great day, everybody.